This episode of Podcast Portugal is brought to you by expatsportugal.com, your trusted online community for everything related to moving to, living in, or investing in Portugal. What really sets Expats Portugal apart is its welcoming, knowledgeable community. Whether you're just starting to explore the idea of life in Portugal or you're already settling in, you'll find live webinars, expert Q&As, member discounts, a vibrant forum, and friendly in-person meetups happening across the country. And just for Podcast Portugal listeners, you can get 15% off membership by using the code Podcast Portugal at checkout. That's Podcast Portugal, all one word and in caps. Visit expatsportugal.com today and start your Portugal journey with the support of people who've been there, done that, and are ready to help you do it too. This is Justin West from Podcast Portugal. We speak with Pierre de Lemos this week, the driving force behind a remarkable Portuguese legacy. From the award-winning wines of Quinta de Lemos to the Michelin-starred Mesa de Lemos and premium textile brands like Abyss and Habidecor. The de Lemos brand and name stands for craftsmanship, sustainability, and excellence. We explore the philosophy behind these brands, their global reach, and how Portugal's heritage is being reimagined for the future. Welcome, Pierre.
Welcome, my friend Justin. How are you?
Very good. Thank you very much. So I want to start straight away with the land. What makes the Dow region so central to your family's vision at Quinta de Lemos? I heard that the wines honor the women of the Lemos family. Is this true?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Well, the Dow region is linked to its capital, which is Viseu. And in the center of the project of Quinta de Lemos lands, there is a man. There is a man called Celso de Lemos. He's my father of many people, actually. He's a mentor for many people. And well, this man succeeded his life in another industry, which is textiles. For 50 years, we've been producing textile here in Viseu. And well, he wants to share more. He wants to show the role that the label made in Portugal, the label made in Viseu, or should I say handmade, continues. So we have invested in land in 1999. And I mean, wine is a fantastic product when you want to share your passion, when you want to share your convictions. So that's what we did. That's how basically it starts. And yeah, down is crucial for us. You know, it's our earth, it's our land. You know?
Yeah. And what about the honor of the women of the Lemos family? Is that just a rumor, or is this something true? And
no, it's totally true. Most of our wines have name of our grandmothers, of our mothers, of our sisters,
beautiful,
of our great mother. And well, basically the idea is simply because, well, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but in the ocean, you know, mammals are all led by matriarch. And there is less war in oceans. So for us, simply, it was a joke apart. It was simply a nod to our great ladies, to our great women who lead this family where it is today.
It's a beautiful message. It certainly is a beautiful message. And so the textiles, it was the original brand Abyss and Habidecor?
Well, the original brand was Habidecor. It all started in the basement of my grandmother, Dona Georgina, which, by the way, is one of our top wines. It started in the basement of Georgina, my grandmother, with two persons. And the idea, and it's always the same idea within the entire group, if we produce textiles or wines or food, we also have a restaurant. It's always the same. It's Portugal. Portugal is key. Not only made in Portugal, but also made by Portuguese. 99 of our employees are from the region, from the city, and made of Portugal. The most we can use from Portugal, we use. if it's raw material, if it's an architect, if it's a design, whatever. The idea is always have been the same. Put the label "Made in Portugal" on the map. And the second thing is, well, remain, have fun, remain simple, remain humble about what you do, and that leads to quality. I mean, we are a small family company, and the idea was always the same. It's let's try to do our best, and this leads to quality. And the third point is, don't think about money. you know,
Hmm.
think about the relationship you will find. We are really pleased when we hear somebody in the middle of Texas or in the middle of, I don't know, Peru or Japan telling us, your wine is fantastic. Your towels are fantastic. Your bed linens are fantastic. This is key for us. This is what drives us every day. This is really what drives us every day.
That's beautiful. And Mesa de Lemos, which is your restaurant, your flagship
Mm-hmm.
restaurant,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
holds both a Michelin star and a green star. So many of my listeners probably won't know what a green star is. And what's the philosophy behind achieving both culinary excellence and sustainability?
Well, simplicity, I will say, good sense, and the team. The team is key. We are really lucky. We work with the best team in the world, no doubt on this. And they are, when you work with local people, let's say, well, they are really passionate. They are really devoted to what they do. They are really proud of showing. It's like, imagine, you have a garden, and you are cultivating tomatoes, or doesn't matter. You will tell your neighborhood, look, my tomato today is fantastic. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? You know that
Mm-hmm.
feeling? Well, that's our feeling when we did the restaurant in the hands of great chef Diogo Rocha.
Yeah.
That's the idea. Show Portugal with elegance, and remain simple. And that's basically what we do. We try to do every day.
That's beautiful. My grandfather was actually a chef, and he had a restaurant for
Oh,
it
did
must
you
have
know?
been 50 years. And his philosophy was actually very Portuguese, although he's British. And he grew all of his own food. He used very little chemical or soil intervention. And all of his produce went into his restaurant, and he cooked it. He used to say to me, when a kid's like, grandfather, do you have some ketchup? Or in the UK, it's HP brown sauce. And my grandfather
Hmm.
used to say, you don't need sauce on my cooking because you will not be able to taste the vegetables and the fish or the meat. He used to use very little sauce.
You
And for me,
know,
it's a message in Portuguese cooking for sure.
a really wise man. A really wise man. We need more of these days.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, what do you think? What do you think the produce? What stands out? A restaurant is very important to have the right produce. And you're saying it comes from local producers. And what
Yes.
defines the produce of the Dow region and the quality of Portuguese produce?
Well, I will say proximity.
Hmm.
I will say, you know, experience. Everybody here have a little garden. Everybody knows what a good tomato is, what a good potato is, what a good cabbage is, what a good catfish is. Everybody knows because, they get it from the uncle, from the father, from everybody has his own garden. So when people goes to the restaurant, they expect that quality, because they are paying, it costs money for them. It's like, okay, I'm going to the restaurant. Well, I hope the tomato is better than mine. That's the philosophy. And this is
Mm.
really implement in the Portuguese culinary culture. It's really here. So people have knowledge what a good bread is, and so automatically the restaurant needs to push their games. And well, lately we noticed that when you push your games, you become more simple again.
Mm.
You will look for the best raw meat, for the best raw fish. You will. I mean, they are in the Portuguese can drive 200, 300 kilometers just to go to a restaurant. I'm half Belgium, half Portuguese. Never seen this in Belgium, to be honest.
Mm.
It's more of a southern culture, I don't know, or more of an Atlantic culture or Mediterranean culture, or probably a mix of everything. But and I think that's what drive the Portuguese culinary culture is that people know they know what's a good raw material. They know what is good. So yeah, I think that's what's drive the restaurant to push and push. And then comes the generation when elegance, when more artistics, more more you know modern cuisine, if I may say, comes to the picture. And that's exactly what Mesa de Lemos is a mix of both. It's really 50-50, or old guard and new guard together,
Mm.
and all about Portugal. That's Mesa de Lemos.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. And so mostly your clientele are Portuguese or Portuguese diaspora. Do you have many sort of traveling foreigners coming to because it's your restaurant is right out in nature, right?
Most definitely, yes, 100%. Well,
Yeah.
basically, we have to keep in mind that that place was built essentially as an asset to the textile industry. And we receive customers from all around the world. We deal with 65 countries of the world. So every week we have visitors, we have customers, we have friends
Mm.
coming to see us, coming to see our factories, coming to see the winery, and etc. and etc. So mainly a lot of foreigners comes to the restaurants. But obviously, since a few years now, Mesa de Lemos is around 7 years old now. Well, we notice by publicity and branding or marketing or whatever how you call it, that more and more Portuguese are coming to the restaurant. And but I will say it's 50-50. I will say it's 50 people from outside, 50% from Portugal.
So I'm really big on trying to get to grips with and understand from leading figures like you, um, how how can we produce and how can we encourage the youngsters to be more innovative, and how can we convince them to vote in a particular way that makes the ground fertile for Portuguese innovation and new business. What do you think would be your recommendations based on your experience on how we can make Portugal even better at producing?
Oh, that is a really good question. Well, I will not pretend I can recommend anything, because after at the end of the day, we have two legs, two arms, and a brain. So we're all the same. So I'm not here to give a recommendation or anything. But what I may say is, believe.
Yeah.
Believe is key. Believe in you. Put yourself some boundaries in the morning, and even when you go, when you go to sleep. Think about what's going on tomorrow. Uh, Probably not in 10 years, but think, what's going on tomorrow. And these days, the young generation sometimes want to go too fast. Even the old generation, everybody wants to go too fast. And sometimes we need to break a little bit and simply, set yourself some boundaries. Not boundaries, sorry, some objectives. At the end of every day, set yourself some objectives. Believe in what you want to do. If you want to be a photographer, if you want to be a chef, if you want to be you want to build a new car, it's coming in 10 years, whatever. Believe in it and set some objectives for yourself. First, start with yourself. Uh, um, look yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Be positive. Be positive. We need positivism. We need passion. And yeah, that I think in our case drives us where we are today. Is a lot of belief, a lot of patience as well. You need to be patient. Don't run. Don't run. Things will come. Things will come your way if you make them. If you believe in them, they will come. This is my belief. This is really my belief. No, to give no, I can't. No, I don't know. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
I can relate on our life. I cannot predict. Everybody is different, so it's difficult for me to give strong advice.
Yeah. I mean, from the textile industry, you must have you must have sort of sat down with your family and Celso, and you must have had a strategy, because the global economy and the competition from cheaper products and synthetic products and all of these other things. You must have sort of said, well, you know, how do we strategize? How do we attract more customers? How do we compete against less quality and cheaper product? How
Well, I will say, Justin, that, well, the strategy started 45 years ago with one man, one exceptional man. Again, my father, Celso de Lemos. This man is a visionary. This man, you have 1 million people, you have one Celso de Lemos. He has a vision 45 years ago that quality is key, and believe in the people and do something. Basically do something. And this was our drive since then. This was our drive. Regarding competition, well, I'm going to be a bit cocky now. We don't have competition, Justin. We are the number one in the world. That's how strong our belief is.
Nice.
But of course, you don't achieve this from another day to the other. Yeah. First of all, raw material. You have to know. You have to understand what do you do. There is a reason why Cristiano Ronaldo is never hurt. He never break himself. He doesn't have any injury because he know what he's doing. He's a professional. He put his life into it. He put his mind, body, and soul into this and to achieve his objectives. But it's exactly what this company is exactly the same. We strongly believe in our objectives. We love, we adore Portugal craftsmanship. We really embrace that. We really push this every day. And hopefully, Justin, if one day you have time, it will be my pleasure to welcome you and to invite you here for you to see with your own eyes.
Wow.
Because now
I'd love to.
I'm blah blah, I'm blah blah. You know what I mean? But
You have to experience
then you
it.
can see. Yes, you have to experience yourself, and then you will understand. It's a family. So we are 300. We have 300 employees.
Wow.
It's a 300 people family. It's a family. We know everybody know each other. We never fired anybody. Can you believe this? In 45 years of existence, we never fired anybody.
Yeah.
This means we accept, everybody. But there is one
Interesting.
objective. We work. The objective is to be the number one, and this is what we try. Of course, I will pray for my church. I will say we are the number one, but at the end of the day, we try to be number one. There is a slight difference there.
Yeah. So one of your biggest possibly you don't even need to call it a strategy. It's community. It's creating your community, and accepting and allowing everybody to work and a community. I think this is something maybe that we lose in a little bit in modern times when people are changing jobs everywhere and moving everywhere. We lose that consistency, the security of long-term employment. And more importantly, I think what you're saying is community. If you're spending all day at work, it's very important who you work with and how you feel about that environment.
Obviously, but you also have to listen. You also we travel a lot. The taste of a Japanese, or the taste of a German, or the taste of an American, or the taste of a Canadian are totally different. So you need to listen to this. If you want to succeed, you cannot come there and say, "I know." No, it's impossible. If you think like that, it's over. It doesn't work. You have to listen. You have to understand what are their needs and adapt. If you are able, we adapt. Well, it doesn't mean to change everything, but we are able to adapt. If an American wants a particular size, or that sort of wine, or that sort of bed linens, whatever, we will try to adapt within our possibilities, of course. So listening is important. Community is key. Family, which I regret in modern society these days. We talk more about the individual. I would like to hear more about families. I'm a father, and family for me is everything. At all stage, if it's from blood family or if it's a business family, family is a word that I would like to see more and more.
Mm.
But well, unfortunately, not unfortunately, is the day we're living. Um, it's more the individual, and to answer also the other part of your question. Well, a lesson lived is a lesson learned.
Yeah.
So learn from your life.
And I'm assuming as well because you're not doing mass production. You can be more flexible to your customer needs. You can be more adaptable to culinary needs or sensitive or towel size needs. I'm guessing for different communities all around the world.
Which is This is a key point: adaptation. We adapt quite easily with whatever we do. We can adapt quite easily, and this again is experience, because we broke our leg several times, but we're wise. We thought that was the way. Oh, it wasn't. Let's do over. Let's do something else. And so yeah, adaptation is also when you work in a luxury environment, because now it becomes luxury. For us, it's simplicity, but as as it leaves the factory or as it leaves the winery, it's becoming luxury. So you have to adapt. Simplicity and adapt. I
Mm,
think this is key in our business.
mm. So, what Quinta de Lemos? Let's talk a little bit about the wines. You mentioned that they were all named after family members, female family members. What differentiates Quinta de Lemos wines and from other wines in the Dow region, or even wines all over Portugal? I live here in the Alentejo, and we have very distinct wines from the Dow region, and I love both.
Well, first of all, they're all from Portugal. But what differences? Well, first and foremost, not all of our wines have ladies' names. We
Yeah.
also have a part where we name them after the grape.
Yep.
And this is one of the huge, big difference from our winery compared to many others winery in Portugal, is that we believe in our grapes. We believe in our casta, as we say in Portuguese. Uh, because again, we have to talk about Portugal. And when we travel all around the world, everybody will know what's a Pinot Noir. Everybody will know what's a Cabernet Sauvignon or a Merlot or a Sauvignon Blanc. But not so many people know what's a Jayen, what is an Alfruchero, what is a Tinta Roriz, what is a Touriga Nacional. So if the winemaker doesn't promote their own grapes, well, in 50 years, it will be the same. So
Mm.
we have the intention, we have the the idea. Let's talk about the grapes, not necessarily a region, a country, yes, not necessarily a region, but mainly about grapes. And this was a big difference, especially here in the Down, because 40, 50 years ago, there were no wineries. Everybody have wines, everybody have vines, but no winery. They all come to the cooperativa, which is the local winemaking, and everybody brought their grapes there and make their wines. No, since 30, 40 years ago, some wineries um, were built here in the Down, and everybody brought their own flavors. One of them was Quinta de Lemos, and our flavors was like, okay, let's talk about the Portuguese grapes. There are more than 400 grapes in Portugal. There are some vineyards that we don't even know the grapes, you know, because they are really, really old vineyards. So we had the intention to show the world what's a good Alfrochero is, what's a good Giant is. And so this is a quite a big difference for us, because it's more complicated to produce monovarietal wines. It's because once let's say the Chaya won't be good, well, you blend it. But in our case, no, we must have a good Chaya every year. This is a really, really big difference. Another big difference is time. You need time. To make great wines, you need time. So this is the reason why we keep our wine 5 to 8 years in the cellar before launching them in the market.
Wow.
5 to 8 years. We also have higher density plantation per hectare, which this is led to the fact that in the Down region it rains. It rains quite. It rains over 1,200 millimeters of water every year. Some region in the Douro, it's 10 times less. I believe, I don't know where you are in Alentejo, but it's probably 4 or 5 times less a year. So we have a lot of rain. And unfortunately, that rain comes in the middle of the harvest, which is really not good for the plants and really not good for the grapes. So what we have to do is to anticipate our harvest. And in order to anticipate our harvest, we have to cut a lot of grapes. We have a really, really high green harvest. So for us to still have some grapes, we did plant more by hectare. So normally is the 3,500 vines per hectare in our region. In our case, we're talking about 6,000 vines per hectares, of which 70%, I repeat, 70%, 70, of the grapes, we don't use them. We only use 30% of our grapes. Why is that? We believe in quality, So this is like, I don't know if you have a kid or if you have a family, but imagine you have a table with 10 people and you have 1 kilos of rice for the 10 people. Well, they will each have 100 grams, right? If you are 3, you will have more than 300 grams. Well, it's exactly the same for a vine working and giving elements to the grapes. Less grapes, more nutrition, more information to the select grapes, the wine will be better.
Interesting. That's fascinating. Yeah, we actually started a wine appreciation society here in Alentejo. So for sure, we're going to look up some of these because I've never the grape variety you just mentioned. Then I've never heard of that. So
that's my point.
Yeah, that's
the grape variety I just mentioned are endemic, indigenous for this region, especially Jaia and Alfrocheiro. Although with Alentejo, we share, we call it terroirs. In Alentejo, they call it Aragonese.
Yeah, I have heard.
So, that's the same. It's the same grapes, exactly the same grape. And you also have some Touriga Nacional in Alentejo, which we also have here.
Yeah, it's very true, actually, because when often you hear people sort of ordering wine, they won't order a winery, they'll order or even a region, they'll sort of say, yeah, I have a Pinot Noir, please, or I have a Cabernet Sauvignon.
That's it. That's correct.
That's a very
mainly in America and mainly in England, I have to say. Yeah. In Portugal, we don't hear that much because we don't offer that much of Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah. So how do people, for example, in your restaurant, because what I find really interesting, I love to go. There was a restaurant that I've been to a couple of times here near Comporta, and one time I went there. There was the owner. I don't know if he was the owner, but he was somehow in charge of the wine. Now we sat down. We had some basic seafood. It was very nice, but he made a big journey with the wine. He came over. He read the wine list. He got us to taste different wines. And he chose us the most perfect wine combination with this salty, garlicky seafood. And the experience was really special. We went back to the restaurant the second time. He wasn't working that day. And the waitress, I can't remember, just poured us the wine and said, yeah, that's that. And then I was like, the wine didn't taste quite as good with the food. You really need that passion. And in your restaurant, is that something you work on? You tell the story of your wine, in your waiters, and they're passionate about and they understand the wine and the food combinations. You train this, or does it become or is it a natural thing in your staff that they want to learn?
Oh, most definitely. This happens in our restaurant. Most definitely, of course. Well, let me remind you that Mesa de Lemos only serve winery. It only serve Quinta de Lemos wine.
Great.
But, when you go to a Michelin star, you want to have an experience. You want to travel a little bit, and chefs and their team can select whatever the wine is from the world, or whatever the champagne is, or whatever the digestive is from the world. In our case, we only use the wine from Quinta de Lemos, which make it more difficult for Chef Diogo Rocha and his team to make that perfect blending food and wine, which basically it's the story of wine. I mean, you want to drink wine, you need a table. You want to drink wine, you need food. This is my philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Wine was created to share and to, blend with food. And there are those people who understand that, who understand how to mix and match certain wine with certain food. And that's basically what happened to you in Comporta, from that really wise man who wants for you to discover, who he wants to share a story. He wants to share, his idea, his feeling, what he senses. And that's what we do every day in our restaurants, from the chef to our team. Obviously they know, they train, they taste, yeah, they have to know. That's their job, huh? Their job.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's very important for listeners to understand that you need to find these restaurants with that understanding, because you can be disappointed if you go to a restaurant which is not giving you that journey, because there is something about the human spirit that really well, in my case anyway, I can't speak for everybody else, but I love that journey. I love the artistic, I love the value that's put into the creation and to the story and to the produce. And I think this is what you're paying for. You're paying for this experience and this love that goes into producing these things. And I think it's very, very important that people find these restaurants and understand, and going there with an open heart, and going there with love, and appreciate the craftsmanship.
It's all about sense. When you come to a restaurant, you are in a good mood. The food you will think the food is better if you come in a bad mood. That also influence you a lot. If you are surrounded by people that, they're all on their phones and not talking to each other, that's a different mood. If you go with friends and family and you enjoy the table and bread, and, you use your hand to pick the bread over there. It's all a matter of senses. And when your senses are accurate, and if somebody understand that your senses are accurate, and it serve you the perfect wine and the perfect food, what else can this is life.
Yeah.
this is the best one can ask. In my case is the table. The table is key. It's key. And there are professionals of these tables.
It feels to me it's one of, because my partner, she's Portuguese, so I'm English, and it feels to me like part of the culture here. We go to my in-laws, and it's the longest lunch you could ever possibly imagine, with every family member dropping past and by, and mom spending hours cooking the most delicious foods.
Well, and you know why? Because she wants to share.
Yeah.
You come, she wants to share. She wants to feel you at home. She will treat you like, well, actually, you are family. And this is Portugal. This is really, really Portugal. And I think we can say this about most of the Mediterranean countries, Italy, Spain, a bit of France, that, the table is key. The table is where we live. The table is where we do business as well. As I said, I'm coming from Belgium, I never had a business lunch in my life in Belgium.
No way.
In Portugal, it was like every week, let's have lunch. Let's talk it. Let's talk over it on lunch about I will have a sandwich. No, we'll go to lunch. The key, table here is really key, which is made this country fantastic.
Yeah.
It's, for me, people made.
I agree.
There are people, but for me, yes, this is important. It's important to have that social life in Portugal and around the table. Basically, yes, around the table.
I think that's a great philosophy, and I think we need to spread that as much as possible.
I agree.
Let's
totally
do
agree.
more business at lunchtime, please, with listeners.
Yes,
I love that idea. Yeah. Yeah, I think that could be something the government could help us with as well, giving us bigger lunch tickets for the
Well, we had a nice conversation so far, Justin. Let's not talk about politics. That's another podcast. But first, we have to meet.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we talk about that, we have to meet.
For sure. Especially what's going on the outside of Portugal as well at the moment, which is just, I think...
he's the world. It's the human being. He's the human being. But humans are like this.
Well, the Portuguese cultural message could extend out to the rest of the world. Let's sit down and let's talk about your problems over a nice lunch,
Oh, but I like I said, I'm a believer. So I don't think it's only Portugal that has good sense. I think the world, the humanity, has good sense.
Yeah, I mean,
at the end of the day, we are all the same. We are all. I just came. I told this to a friend earlier this week. I just came from Dubai, the business trip.
Yeah.
In Dubai, you have the world is there. You have American, Russians, Israel. You have Iranians. All these now we hearing the word. They are all in Dubai. I don't see any problem. They all get along. Why can we not do this in the planet? Because I don't know, decision probably. I don't know. This is another conversation. Just this, like I said, let's talk about this when on a nice table with a really glass of wine, and we'll make the world, and we'll make a new world in our head, and believe in it.
Yeah, exactly. well, I grew up in the Middle East, and I grew up in Saudi, and I went back to work there. And a nice little story about lunch. So there's no politics here. And the job that I was doing meant that I had to go deep into the south, which was supposed to be the hotbed of Al Qaeda. And so I was walking around some of these villages, and I was kind of semi in disguise. And I'd get people coming out of their houses. They come up to me, shake my hand. Oh, where are you from? And I was a little bit hesitant to say that I was originally from the UK. Shake my hand. Oh, you're from the UK. Please come into my house and share some food with us and break some bread and really welcoming, really beautiful, and the food was fantastic. And I was thinking, if that happened, I can't imagine that would happen in the UK. If I was walking around with a thobe and gutra in some of the far reaches of the UK and walking down a village, there is no way anybody is going to come and invite me into the house to share lunch.
Maybe some. Yes, yes, maybe you will have. But I understand what you mean. Don't hate the players, hate the game.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Flow Sports and Flow Grappling, the streaming platform dedicated for fans of grappling, rugby, basketball, volleyball, swimming, cycling, and much more. If you're into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you'll want to head straight to Flow Grappling. They stream all the major events, IBJJF, ADCC, WNO, and the Pan Ams. And yes, even the IBJJF European Masters, where you could have watched me win gold. Tap the link in the show notes or go to podcastportugal.com to subscribe and get access to all the action. Pierre, one thing I've really noticed these days is a growing interest from the international community in Portugal, even moving here. And why do you think that is? We talked about family and we talked about those qualities, which is a Mediterranean feeling. But there seems to be definitely a tactile reason, from my opinion anyway, that people are interested in Portugal, either if it's for visiting or for moving their families, for becoming an immigrant or expat, or however you want to call it. Well, in your opinion, what do you think it is that attracts, and what's the reason for the growing awareness of Portugal?
Mm-hmm. Well, Justin, I did that move actually.
Okay.
I was living 30 plus year in Belgium, and then decided to come to Portugal around 13, 14 years ago. I think everybody has his own reason. So I don't know why precisely. What I can tell you, what attracts me to Portugal was, well, first of all, of course, my family roots, the culture. I like to observe. I'm a birder. I'm a bird watching guy.
Yeah.
So also the nature was really key, important for me to have some nature, to be able to have a piece of nature when you can decompress and have some walk. So beside the part that Portugal is really beautiful, the food, obviously the food is important. And but why people? I don't know. Maybe quality of life that we have in Portugal is like a hidden gem, and that people start to realize, whoa, the condition of living in Portugal is quite good. We have quite a good security. We have a good health system. Um, Education is fantastic. I mean, the education in schools are fantastic. I have three children. They all study really, really well. They are some commitment from the school. So I don't know. Basically, I don't know many things,
Yeah.
and I also doesn't want to mention too much because then too much people will come.
Well, actually, that was going to be my next point. It's like how do we manage Portugal so that I came here 13, 14 years ago, similar time to you. Now, I first moved to the Algarve, and it was Vila Moura area was the first place I landed. And then I moved to the West Coast. I lived in Arifana. Then I lived in Sagres. Then I lived in Lagos. And what I did notice over the years was a change. And I think this is quite important because now we move from the Algarve and we move right into Alentejo, we have a small farm here growing our own vegetables and making olive oil. And
nice.
one of the big driving factors for me was that I wanted to live in Portugal. And what I noticed in some areas of where I lived in the Algarve, there was a shift. It was Portuguese, and then it became something else. Now, it's important to have that nice international community. That was a bonus, but I'd like to have that international community without losing the cultural importance and the cultural vibe of Portugal, because that is for the very reason why I moved here personally. We can only speak personally.
Well, Portugal is the borders of Portugal are the oldest in Europe. That we kept our border the way they are. We are the oldest. We have the oldest border in Portugal. That means the Portuguese culture is strong and really well implanted. It's here. It's not obvious. Some cultures, they want to show, okay, this is our culture and nothing else. No. Portuguese culture is more subtle, more, discreet, but it has strong pillars. They have a really, really strong culture in Portugal, and the Portuguese population. And this is my observation. I might be wrong on that, but they have really deep roots, and they really strongly defend that culture on an everyday basis. And I think it will be difficult for that culture to disappear. In my opinion, but never say never. But I don't think this will ever even shake. It's really strong. It's really, really, really deep roots, deep Portuguese roots around. And also Portugal is quite, we have, Portugal is 3 times bigger than Belgium with the same population.
Mm.
So we have a density of 100 people a kilometer or kilometer square.
Mm-hmm.
So compared to a Belgium, which is 300 plus. So and also the landscape. I mean, you can have mountains, but you can have sea. You can have almost deserts, and some part of Alentejo, some parts of the Douro are really quite dry. And we have the oceans. And so we're kind of an island. Portugal is kind of an island because, the next big city is Madrid. And between Madrid and Portugal, there is nothing.
Mm.
So on our left, we have a desert, and on our right, we have the ocean. So it's kind of an island that protects itself quite interestingly. Similar to England, I will say. The English culture is really, really strong. It's deep in the roots. You have also a lot of immigration in the past 50, 60, 100 years. That doesn't mean the English culture disappear. I drink tea every day.
Yeah.
The way of saying, but no, I don't think it will shift. Although we have a lot of people coming, which I think is good because although the economy is not the best in the world, we're not talking about Dubai, or we're not talking about a really strong economy, but a stable economy. Life is a bit cheaper compared to other countries in Europe, but we earn less. So it's I don't know, weather, food. Probably that's what attracts people when they want to have I don't want to compare, because a lot of people says to me, "Oh, Portugal is Florida of the United States." Well, I don't agree with this.
Yeah.
We are much more dynamic than Florida. Florida attract a certain age, let's say.
It's deeper.
And really and stiff rules. And no, here we are more relaxed. We are more bon vivant, if I may say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know.
I think it's something that we probably subconsciously do, or I consciously do with the podcast. Is I want to try to express from different people's opinions the cultural identity, or at least in different people's opinions, the cultural identity of Portugal, so that we get that message there. So when people come, they have a greater appreciation and an open mind to it, because I think that is very important. Because I've often found we have people that move here in the past, and they find it difficult to understand even what Portuguese culture is. They find it difficult to integrate, and so they tend to sort of put themselves in their own ivory towers, as we said in English. They make their own like compounds, and they sort of almost fear to reach out a little bit. In past discussions, seems to be the case, and I think it's nice for people, if they arrive in Portugal, is to reach out, go and learn the language, go and learn the art, go and experience the food, the culture, travel around the country. And I think in this way, the Portuguese culture will seep into their blood, it will seep into their veins, even if they weren't born here. They will understand it, that deep root, that deep connection to the landscape and to the people that they share this land with.
It's correct, 100% correct. Yes. Some part of Portugal is, like you said, they live in an ivory tower, and they come with their principle and don't want to change that. They want a piece of land, tranquility. Doesn't matter who is around. This happens. This is a fact. We have to be honest. But I don't think it's a majority of happening in Portugal. Maybe in Algarve, honestly, maybe in Algarve you may find this a little bit more. But the rest of Portugal, I don't. Well, what can we say? That we have one planet.
Yeah.
We have to strive to live together. But the culture, when you come to a country, when I came to the country, and I'm half Portuguese, half Belgium, and I was living in Belgium. I'm married. I have a wife. I have 3 kids. We came to Portugal. The first 18, 24 months, for myself, it was okay because I have my work, my family. and I like to work. So I was in my bubble. For my wife and my kids, it was different. So they didn't have the language. They
Hmm.
didn't have an idea how the culture is. My wife was. I'm not saying she was desperate, but the first month she was like, "Oh my God, this is so difficult here to work with the bureaucracy. It's totally different, etc., 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 etc." Well, and it's been 12 years now
Yeah.
that we are here. I don't think anybody in my family wants to go back.
Yeah. How old were
So
your
you
kids?
have to adapt.
Yeah. How old were your
Excuse me.
kids when they moved to you?
Well, I have three. So my eldest, was around 10, 9, 10.
Mhm.
My boy was 7, and my little one was 1 year old.
Yeah.
Today they are 21, 19, and my little one is 13.
Hmm.
And at home, we speak like 4 languages.
Wow.
My wife is from the Dutch part of Belgium. I'm from the French part
Okay.
of Belgium. We all speak Portuguese, and English came to the pictures because, of the social media and etc. So there is a tendency now for my little children to speak English to our mother. Anyway, so that means we speak 4 languages here, but obviously everything is in Portuguese. When we go, all of my kids speaks Portuguese. My wife speaks fluently Portuguese.
Wow. Brilliant.
So this is the basic. I mean, I compare this to soccer.
Hmm.
Uh, when you are a new player that you come to play to whatever the team you play, you have to adapt to the team. If you don't adapt, they're gonna throw you out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, here we don't throw people out, obviously, but I mean, you have to adapt. You have to have your basics. You have to understand that here we we have we have some culture. You have to know what's codfish. You have to know what's a business lunch, like we said earlier
Mm.
before. You have to understand. I don't know, the way of Portuguese, the way of life in Portugal.
Yeah.
And once you adapt to this, well, this is one of the best country to live for me.
Yeah. I think.
No doubt, no doubt. But again, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. Language definitely is a key to understanding culture. I mean, I still struggle a little bit with much of my Portuguese spoken. Anyway, I understand a lot, but speaking sometimes the vocabulary I need to practice more. And we speak both Portuguese and English at home. My son is fluent in both. And yeah, so that's a relief for me. And he teases me with my Portuguese, which is quite funny. But yeah, language is definitely a key to culture, and I think it's something that
Yeah.
at least people should try. And it's very difficult for English people, unfortunately. I don't know why it's so difficult, but it seems to be more difficult for native English speakers because everything is easy for them in English, and there's nothing to force them to speak other languages. I think it,
Yes, 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 it's
but they're
true.
missing out
It's
on
true.
so much.
But English, we speak like us. We're now talking in English.
Yeah, this
In a few
podcast
moments,
is
I'm
in
going to
English.
talk to people in Germany. I'm going to talk in English. Later this afternoon, I have a meeting with people from Argentina. Although
Yeah,
I speak a little bit Spanish, we're going to talk in English.
yeah,
So English is worldwide. So I guess when you were born and it's your mother tongue, well, and the humanity is lazy. Let's be
mm,
honest.
yeah,
Humans are. Well,
yeah,
why should I? Why should I?
yeah.
So, but for me, if you want to get into the country, if you want to get into the culture, of course you need to speak the language.
It's
Of
so
course,
important. It's
it's a
so
basic.
important.
It's the basic.
So I think all my listeners out there, I know this podcast is primarily in English. One of the reasons is because of English speakers' poor ability to learn new languages. But I really recommend you at least try just the basics in a restaurant or whatever. It's you're gonna open
Yes,
some doors, you know.
yes, yes. I
Um,
agree. If you want to live here, if you want to have a second house and spend 6 months here and 6 months there, oh, okay. But if you really want to get into Portuguese culture and if you want to leave Portugal at 100%, which I will advise anybody in the world to do it because it's a fantastic country to live in. Try or make the effort to speak a few words in Portuguese, and the experience will be totally different. Because when you leave Algarve, and you want to see the remote countries or remote location in Alentejo or Montesino or I don't know, whatever, then you will see what's Portugal. And there you will need the language.
For sure.
It's important. It's important. It's important.
For sure. And I think, the Portuguese people are very, very forgiving as well with it. So don't be afraid to try, don't be afraid to say a few words, and Portuguese people will be very, very helpful and appreciate the fact that you're respecting the language.
Yes, we are indeed. No doubt on that. No doubt on that. I guess probably it has to do with the fact that, again, it's old traditional culture and country. So they have seen many things. They've been through that, and they understand. Welcome your friend. Don't push them away. Welcome them.
Yeah, it's a country that still has that feeling of you have so many Portuguese. I don't know the exact figure, but there is the Portuguese diaspora. You have so many people who are originally from Portugal, family in Portugal, that live all over the world. They still think back to Portugal, and they still think back to their family, and they have that connection. And I think that gives a world citizenship to the element to the Portuguese culture as well. I think.
100%.
Yeah. Well, Pierre, I think. Yes. I want to thank you so much for your time. It's been a really interesting chat, and I would really love to meet you in person one day. Maybe we can do this live if I travel up to the Dow.
I will be. I think this would be really nice, my friend.
It would be great. It would be great to meet you. And
with pleasure. Likewise, Justin.
And what I'm going to do in the show notes, this will go out on all the major podcast platforms. And in the show note, I'm going to leave the links to your restaurant, to the wines, to the fabrics.
Thank you so much.
And this will help people find you and find your restaurant and have a great experience with lunch and the story of your Quinta de Lemos wines, and they're going to be very, very, very happy to do that, I'm sure.
We are here. We will be, we welcome anybody.
Pierre, thank you so much. Thank you
Justin,
so much.
Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, you
Have
too.
A pleasant day.
Yeah, you
Looking
too.
Forward to
Have a great week.
Take care, my friend.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
This is Justin West from Podcast Portugal, thanking Pierre de Lemos. What a beautiful chat and some really nice insights into Portuguese culture. This is Justin. Out. Simple, secure currency transfers from once-in-a-lifetime property purchase of your dreams to everyday expenses. Currencies Direct helps you save time and money on international transfers. Rated excellent on Trustpilot with over 17,000 positive reviews. Spend like a local with their multi-currency MasterCard. Tap the link in the show notes to get started.
To stop playing Baldur's Gate 3. 1, 2, 3, we're living on a rock, living on a rock, living on a roller coaster. 365 per year, living on a round, in a muffin shop. I need to concentrate, stop the strain of thoughts, or I will be crashing on a couch.